Hello and welcome. My name is Josh and this is Josh Z Boxing. Hope you guys are well. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Okay, let's talk about it. David Benavidez against David Morrell last night. It was an absolutely classic fight. If you haven't watched the fight, I'll definitely say go onto YouTube, go and watch that fight because it's one that you do not want to miss. First of all, prior to the fight, I don't think I put a video up about this, but I did think in terms of my predictions around it that it was going to be really entertaining. You're talking about both guys who have a great knockout record. David Benavidez prior to the fight, 29 fights, 24 KOs, no losses. You have Dave Morrell, similarly, 11 fights, 9 KOs, no losses. So it was one of those fights where you knew immediately the styles will definitely gel, and we were in for a treat. And sure, we were in for a treat last night. And before I continue, I just want to say well done to both men, right? They've decided to put their records on the line, their O's on the line, face each other, not thinking, let this fight marinate for a few years. You know the drill. You know how it goes. Fights marinate, and before you know it, it's too late, and they're facing each other when they've gone, when they've hit a decline. So massive respect to both guys. And I think it's also a case as well, Morrell could come back and face Benavidez later on. I mean, it doesn't have to be one fight and that's it. It was really entertaining. We could see a second fight and I'm sure it will be just as entertaining. But well done to both men for doing so. But let's go into the nitty gritty of the fight. The first 4 rounds, really competitive by both men. Benavidez coming forward as usual. Morrell, it was interesting. He was fighting on the back foot. I think courtesy to that Cuban style, fighting on the back foot. But when I say fighting on the back foot, I don't mean running away in that sense, but it was more counter-punching. But I do feel in those first 4 rounds, Benavidez was winning those key moments. In terms of those key eye moments, I definitely would have given it to Benavidez in that sense. But that doesn't discount what Morrell had done in the fight in those first 4 rounds. One thing that was interesting as well is that we saw different aspects of Benavidez, is his defensive style. There were times when Benavidez was on the ropes and he was tucking up, for example. And this is something that we haven't really seen a lot of Benavidez. So when Morrell was punching with combinations, they weren't getting through. And it was really good to see the other side of Benavidez, his defensive work. And I thought that was fantastic by him. Then we get to round 5 onwards. And I have to say, from round 5 onwards, you could kind of see the trajectory of the fight, right? You saw Benavidez really starting to break down Morrell, because I think in the first 4 rounds he had really invested in the body and it was really starting to pay. Morrell was getting a little bit more tired. That lateral movement was starting to go bit by bit, and his coach Ronnie Shields was saying, you got to move around, you got to be a bit more lateral, and it was something that he wasn't doing as much of. So you could definitely see the tide was starting to turn bit by bit. Then we get to round 11. Now that was interesting. Round 11 was when Benavidez, he threw out a lazy jab. I'm going to call it lazy. He threw out a lazy jab. Now, who am I to call it lazy? I'm not even a boxer, but I'm going to say a lazy jab, right? And he got caught with a right hook by Morrell and he went down. And the referee counted. Benavidez got up really quickly though. He looked fine. So at that present moment, it was 10-8. It was going to be a 10-8 round to Benavidez. To Morrell, sorry. At the end of the round, Benavidez came back with a flurry, and the bell went. And just after the bell, Morrell, I'm going to say stupidly, it was so unfortunate for him, he punched Benavidez after the bell. The referee called it and deducted a point. So which meant the 10-8 round that he would have benefited from in the end didn't even count in the first place from a points perspective. And that was really unfortunate for him. In round 12, they both went for it. Center of the ring. You could tell that they were both tired, but they literally just done everything that they could in the 12th round to hopefully try and win the fight. But as I said, both men, kudos to you guys. It was a fantastic fight. When you look at the judges' scorecards, we talk about this all the time, right? Judging scorecards being crazy. 115, 111 from two of the judges. I thought that was about right. It was that kind of fight. I would say maybe about 8-4 kind of fight. We had one judge, can't remember the name, scored it 118, 108. So we're basically saying that Morrell only won one round in the fight. That's just insane. It's not that type of fight. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. But I can assure you, it's not that kind of fight where you think it's going to be 118, 108. I personally didn't score the fight. But from what I saw from the eye test, it just did not. It's just not that kind of fight. So it's not a scorecard that I would in any way entertain being anywhere remote to correct in that sense. But I'll definitely say 115, 111 is kind of roughly around what that kind of fight was from a scorecard perspective. That was more acceptable. But we always talk about judging. We always talk about scorecards. Let's hope that it improves in the future. But as I said, that one was just ridiculous in that sense. I'm sure it won't be the last time, but hey ho. But let's talk about it. My thoughts on Benavidez. Great fight. Great fighter. Interim champion, WBC and WBA, if that means anything now. I think he just needs to go in and face the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol. My only concern is if it is Bivol, we probably won't see them fight. And the reason for that is I can imagine we'll see a trilogy fight between Bivol and Beterbiev. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I can definitely imagine Bivol want to get in there one more time and make it 2-1 in that sense. So if it is Bivol, I doubt it will happen immediately after. If it is Beterbiev though who wins later on this month, now that's going to be interesting. I'm going to say it now. If you're a casual fan and you do not know about Beterbiev or you do not know about Benavidez, that is a fight you need to watch. My oh my, that is going to be epic. I think we're going to witness something legendary if that fight takes place. Again, if Beterbiev wins, it's no foregone conclusion against Bivol. But if he does win, I think that's going to be an absolutely brilliant fight, an epic fight. The styles of both guys, they gel instantaneously, and their modus operandi, like what they're looking to achieve, is to break you down before knocking you out. So that's going to be absolutely amazing to see if we do see it. But anyway, that's my thoughts. I want to know your thoughts. What do you think? What did you think about yesterday's fight? Did you have a scorecard that was similar to 115, 111, or did you score it differently? What did you think as well about David Benavidez's performance? How do you think he performed? And what do you think in terms of his future fights as well? What do you think that should look like in that sense? And if he does face Beterbiev, how do you think he fares against him? Do you think it's going to be a fight as close as I think it's going to be, or as epic as I think it's going to be, or do you think it's going to be something a bit different from that? Let me know your thoughts, guys, and until next time, peace.